Hey, how everybody doing? This is Free, founder of the 40 Strong, and I'm coming to you live with your 40 Minutes with 40 update, and we have some interviews. Like I said in my last, update, I said that we wanted to have some good shows, get a little bit of information from the guys on how they feel now as opposed to November when the situation happened, and we're excited. Thank y'all for listening. If you can tell a friend to tell a friend, share it. Like, this is like real, like prison from inside. Like how it's happening, I chronicle it. I don't do no sugarcoating. We don't do no favoritism. We like all voices to be heard. So if you can share your 40 minutes with 40 and give somebody else inspiration, I thank you so much. So I want to do a roundup first because I haven't really properly spoken on everything that transpired. And I think that it's important that I bring everyone to where we are today and why I'm going to be doing these interviews from then and now. So basically, River North was put on lockdown on November 17th when an officer was assaulted, and he eventually died by a gentleman. I don't know the specifics, but I do know that is pretty much what happened. This happened in B building. So at River North, you have A building, B building, C building, D building. B building is a population building, just like my building, D building. So it runs pretty fluidly, recreation and stuff. When this situation happened November 17th, I can remember the officers saying, we have to lock down. It's emergency, lock down. I actually didn't come out. I had stayed in to clean up, brush my teeth, work on a few things. So I eventually seen on the news that the officer died, and I thought to myself, wow, because like I've said in a few other updates and a few other 40 minutes with 40, I had literally used the last 2-3 years of my life to educate anybody I could see, talk to, that would hear me, listen to me about voting, on the importance of voting. I did believe that Spanberger would give us the best opportunity for second chances, for improved conditions. So I was literally out just working the beat. Hey, who you voting for? Where you from? Who's your family? So I guess I felt so overwhelmed with, unsureness. I didn't know what was going to happen because of this. And I was scared. I was like, wow, we made all of these strides, all of this going on, all this good stuff going on. And then 13 days after the election, this has to happen. And it has to happen here in River North where I'm at. So the first couple weeks was rough. We didn't really get many showers. The officers were very aloof. I could imagine, that was probably their coworker, their friend, etc. I began to kind of, do work in the pod because everyone in the pod was kind of mentally strained, because you can imagine being snatched from your family. One day you're out November 16th, the next day, November 17th, you don't know what's going to happen. They tell you to lock down and you really don't know, how long this is going to last. So we began our man time groups, which is our program where we all had to stand on the door because we were on lock and talk about accountability. We talked about the situation with the officers, and a lot of the guys were frustrated because they were painting the officer, made his family, prayers to his family. But I have to tell the truth. There are a lot of guys who were like, well, this officer was shooting everybody. He was this, and he was a menace, and he was racist, and all of these things. And it was hard to find a middle ground of, yes, this man did these things, but he also lost his life. So yes, there is the stigma of him being aggressive with the gun and shooting people, but there's also his wife and his family who lost their husband, their father, etc. And that took time for everyone to get rid of that anger, and the Man Time program did that. I'm thankful that we were able to stand at that door Fridays and Sundays. Some men cried, some people talked about their lives and accountability and how to be better as people. And we began to knock down the weeks, and, Thanksgiving went, Christmas went, it was New Year's, and time kept rolling, and we kept staying together as a pod because those were trying times. There were 10-minute showers, pull on a pair of boxers and a T-shirt, hurry up, get in the shower, get out. And that's the way it was, and it slowly became, okay, y'all are going to be out for 30 minutes. Then we came out for an hour, and as we stand now, from November 17th to about early February, the system has changed. We're basically out now maybe 5 to 7 hours per day, depending on scheduling. We're now out together, top tier, bottom tier, where the top tier comes out and the bottom tier comes out at the same time, where before the bottom tier would come out for like an hour, hour and a half. We would have to lock down, then the top tier would come out an hour and a half. And that was basically giving us maybe 3 hours of rest per day, an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening. So, this morning we came out at 6:30. And, basically we've been coming out at 8. But now it's like we're out here from 6:30 to 11. And when I tell you, I've never seen more smiles. I've never seen more joy. I've never seen more hope. I haven't. Once you have experienced DOC life for so many years and decades, I'm sorry to say like myself, there are so many memories that you have of despair, of lockdown, of being in the cell all day, why we can't come out, the frustration. So to see such a huge change in the way people are thinking, relating to each other, is amazing. I'm thankful the food is better. We still get meat raw, processed foods and all of that. And, I always have been against it. I'm always telling people to eat right, reduce your sugar, reduce your salt. So the food is better. I do see a much improved recreation schedule. I do think they're trying. We do have several wardens up here. Keisha Falk has been very informative with us. We have a ward named Brian. We have 3 wards actually, like I stated on the last update. So I just wanted to update y'all on the journey from November 17th when the incident happened to now, with Spanberger being governor, Director Joseph Walters now at the head of DOC, and kind of the change. So I have my guy here, Mr. Shim, good guy, love him to death. We always get along, man. This is my man. And I told him I was going to have him share a few, just a few thoughts on, how he felt at that time, the frustration of November and not knowing where this would lead, as opposed to how he feels now with the enhanced schedule and how he feels, just about the optimism of what could be next for DOC. What direction can DOC go in to ensure that our mental health, that we're progressing properly and preparing to go back to society, because 85% of the people here will return to their family and their community. So I'm going to have Shim introduce himself and just kind of give you a short synopsis of where he was and how he felt during lock, how the man time affected him, and where he's at now with, the increased rec schedule.
Hello. My name is Emmanuel Barnes. Emmanuel Hashem Barnes, but everybody in the system calls me Shim. I want to speak about when this incident happened here at this facility in November. I spoke about it and what was the cause of it was this officer being killed, unfortunately. But I know there was an impression of his wife's impression was that he was a hero, and it's sad to say that wasn't the case, because he was one of River North's most top shooters, shooting people for stepping on the line. But that's neither here nor there. But what's taking place now for me is I'm on the precipice of being released. After 20-some years, I'm about to be released back into society. And there's one thing that I can say during the lockdown, during the 4 months that took place in this very same pod, was a program that is called Man Time. It should be implemented throughout DOC. The guys that blew it up and wrote it up, they did it as a way for us in here. It wasn't even the administration wasn't even involved in it. It was just the guys who were in this pod, and Free was one of them. that instituted to give us some sort of hope. And we all know that hope is powerful. Hope is very powerful. And it can cause you, it can lead to optimism as opposed to being a pessimist or always depressed about being in prison. Regardless of us, we can't change those circumstances, but we cannot be defined by prison. You can't be defined by our environment. You can better yourself if you want to. That's the main thing. And what's taking place now with the new governor in the system, it's starting to be a little bit better. It's really working. I can say that. I can see it working because it worked in me. And I'm about to be 55 years old. And like I said in the beginning, I'm about to be released back into society. And these programs and these mentorships with these younger guys, these inmates here, prisoners who have no set moral compass. They don't know where to start at to do their time and better themselves. It's and DOC has been for so long. DOC has been about punishment and just punishing you. And they're saying that Virginia has the lowest recidivism rate in the country. And the reason for that is because they weren't letting anybody out. They kept everybody in prison. And even if you bettered yourself, you still had nothing to look forward to. And that is one thing in prison that all of us have in common. We all want to look forward to getting out and being a better man in society and a better father, a better husband, a brother or whatever. That's something that we all want to do, and that's something that we all strive to do to better ourselves, educate ourselves. And like I said, this Man-Time program, it needs to be implemented because it works. It really does. And I'm an example of that. And the example of not being defined by my environment. Regardless of me being incarcerated, I'm not defined by this. I strive to better myself, and I encourage others to do the same. And that's what it's about, especially in this environment. Programs such pre-release programs like myself, I'm going to a halfway house. God willing, I'm going to a halfway house in Richmond, and I'm going to be seeking out all types of programs and help to gain help to better myself and make me be able to sustain myself and live on my own and be able to be a productive member of society. That's my ultimate goal, and that's what I wanted to say. And I hope that I touch someone hears this, and they can be inspired, regardless of where you're at in prison, regardless of your situation. You can always better yourself. You either come to prison, you become a better man, or you become worse. And that's it. We were all born looking like our parents, but you can also die looking like your decisions. So with that, I'm gonna return the phone to the brother Free.
Hey, thank you for that, Tim. I got one more thing while you're here. I know you going home. I always talk to you about reentry, and I know you got the heart of gold. The brother wanted to come out and step with the 40 strong. You want to help the community. If there's one thing that's being overlooked with reentry, one thing that if someone might be listening as an advocate, we got lawyers, we got all types of people on our platform. What is one thing that you would need or another person would need specifically to assist with their reentry to make it successful? If you can think of just one thing that you can say, look, this right here would help people return and be successful and stay in society, what would that be?
My answer to that would be having some type of counseling upon release. You have to have it. It's paramount to have to have some group of individuals that you can turn to who have the same thing in common with you.
I want to thank Shem for coming through, man. I appreciate that. Good brother. Like I said, I know I always say that, but there's really some good men. There's really good men in prison. I mean, I know there's a stigma. We're all bad, but 85 to 90% of the people I'm around want to come home and do right. They want education. They want programs. They want a successful reentry. So I thank him for talking about, where he was post-lock, how things are now. I thank him for talking about Mankind. We put a lot of work into Mankind. I was able to talk to Warden Folks, teacher folks, like I said, who was actually my first unit manager at Sussex. And I told her about Mankind and what we're doing. She asked that I have the proposal on her desk tomorrow. Not a problem. I love to work. We do have the proposal in Richmond now. We gave that to Chief of Housing here, Mr. Earnhardt. Thankful to him and Unit Manager Frazier for, supporting.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That's okay. We'll use a minute the best we have. So basically, that's what's going on. I'm going to be interviewing some more guys coming up. We got some good information for y'all. And like I said, stay hopeful. Life is there's going to be some twists and turns, but stay with it. Stay optimistic. And we're going to keep on pushing, man. We got our next interview coming up. So yeah, one of the things that I did know about the lockdown was that, it was kind of a make or break type of time for a lot of us, mental health wise, because River North doesn't have windows. And I really believe that the fact that we didn't have windows played a significant part on how we felt. So I do have someone here now, TJ, and I'm bringing him in. And I asked him, would you mind sharing, kind of how you felt on lock? Because we like to be real. We like to say how we feel, to just kind of share that. And he said he wouldn't mind, and kind of how things are now. So we're going to touch on the first thing now with TJ. I'm going to let him get on and just kind of go through, the initial lock, which started November 17th. How did you feel? What did you go through emotionally, mentally? How did you cope? Did you read? Did you write? So I'm going to let him say it in his own words. Here's TJ to you.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Teresa Corn Luster, and I'm going to tell you how being locked down affected me. Lockdown affected me mentally because being in a confined area for long periods of time, I couldn't think. Not having any windows, not getting free space, not getting free time to walk around, to roam around, to ease my mind. For some odd reason, I kept thinking about death. I was angry more. I found myself being upset more. I couldn't cope. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone to really vent with. And then being confined in a cell with another man is just what he's going through. His emotions and his feelings that he's dealing with is affecting me, and he's always upset. I couldn't really, think. I couldn't walk around. I couldn't really move. I didn't have anything to ease my mind. But now that I'm out, I get to walk around. I get to talk to people more. We get to go outside. I feel relief. I found a sense of relief instead of being confined. So, yeah, it affected me mentally. I was reading. I was writing. I was trying to praise the Lord. I was trying to build my relationship with the Lord while I was locked away. But I just kept having these negative thoughts. Just being confined. I felt like an animal. But everything is all right. Once they did let us off lockdown, I get to, like I said, I get to walk around. I get to talk to people more. I found relief, and everything was all right. So that was my little experience on how lockdown affected me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I kind of want him also to touch on now. So now, after much years and many frustrations, we're both coming out now. So before, you would only have one tier come out. So you have a top tier and a bottom tier. There's probably 40-some people on each tier. And now we both come out together. We're out from 6:30 in the morning to probably 11, and then we're out in the afternoon. So I just want him to touch on how this rec is helping, mental health-wise, being able to contact family, not being stuck in the cell all day. Like, how do you feel about, just coming out more? How's that helping?
All right, so I'm gonna touch on it a bit deeper on how it helped me being out more. We got leaders in the pod, older black men in the pod that we can um voice our opinion to. We're being heard now. We got programs, we got school. I am currently in computer literacy class, so I get to go to school now. I get to go to the library. I study the law. So just conversating with other individuals, and we got outside right now. We coming out both here, so people that I would like to talk to about certain things, now I can get ready to kind of talk to them about it. Yeah, it's going good, man. I get to talk to my family more. Yeah, I just feel better. I got a better mood. I just feel better. I get to talk more. I get to walk around more. So it helped out a lot. And we was locked down in the cell for, I believe, 90 days. But now everything is going a lot better, man. I get to, voice how I feel. I get to talk. I get to move around. No physical application. Everything is going all right now. So I feel a lot better about that. That's just how I feel. That's just my experience. And thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to talk. Thank you for allowing me to vent. This is therapeutic for me. And that's it. Thank you.
I appreciate that, TJ. So, like I was saying, like, I can tell the difference by how everyone is acting. I see smiles. I see joy. I see people like, wow. Like, it's almost like decompression, being able to come out. So, I wrote quite a few letters to the director, Governor Spanberger, Lieutenant Governor Hashmi, just basically telling them, like, this is the key. Like, letting people out of their cells, letting us go outside every day, it helps. People are changing. Like, there are even guys, because our pod is such a good pod, D2, like I said, that they've been sending us more mental health guys. And I don't stigmatize mental health. Every person is beautiful in their own way. But they've been sending a lot more mental health guys because of the structure of our pod. And I even see the mental health guys healing. They're like, I can't do it justice. It's something that you would have to see for yourself. But I see it. I've seen guys come in this pod in the last week, shaking, drinking coffee, kind of anxiety. And now when I check on them, man, how you doing? I'm doing good. I feel better. And I can just see in them how this recreation is helping. So I'm thankful to the officers who's been patient with us, because I could imagine coming to work somewhere where someone was harmed, one of your coworkers. But the officers have been very respectful, very professional. I'm thankful for the new wardens, Warden Russell, Assistant Warden Russell, Warden Keisha. These wardens were, I guess, designated here temporarily, I guess, while they transition. They've been wonderful. We go on the child, they'll stop and listen to our concerns. They'll fix our concerns, So we're working on communication, with the officer. That's something that we're constantly talking about because, these people come to work to do a job. So it can't be them respecting us and talking to us the right way, and then we're not doing our part by reciprocating that with respect. So I think it's both sides. Both sides are doing their job to try to keep any type of tension down, any type of frustration. But let me say this, that increased recreation, something that the 40 Strong has been working on for years. I would say in 2022 was the first time that we contacted then Director Chadwick Dodson about taking a more health and wellness approach, which is more recreation, making sure guys get outside. Fresh air is amazing for the brain. I believe that after all of that time and all of that waiting on it to happen, to see it come to fruition and to see the results, to see these guys and, these men, literally the joy. Like I said, to come out at 6:30 in the morning, and, they're smiling. Everybody got their coffee. They're calling their mom, their family, their wives. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm very thankful. This is not something that I take lightly because I understand the ramifications of what happened. But I also understand that with hope comes joy. When a person has hope, they have joy. So I'm very thankful and I'm very appreciative. We're going to have one more guy coming up, Travis, and he's going to share a little bit about, his journey, pretty much what he went through on lock and kind of what he feels now with the increased recreation. Travis. Hello, son. Okay, so listen. Cut the Travis part, and I'm going to close it. So the part where I just said we're going to have one more interview with Travis, don't worry about that because he just went in his cell. Just kill it right there, and now I'm going to close this segment for you to put up. And that's it. So kill the part where it says Travis. We got one more interview. Flip it right there, and now I'm about to provide the ending right now. So I want to thank everyone for listening to this 40 Minutes with 40 segment. If you support increased recreation, if you support a more health and wellness style, reach out to the director. This is the email, Joseph, JOSETH .Walters with an S, WALTERS @VADOC.Virginia.gov. Joseph.Walters@VADOC.Virginia.gov. Reach out to him. Let him know, hey, director, I like what's going on. I appreciate the men and women of DOC being given more increased recreation. And, we want more. And we want more opportunity to be responsible. And, I think we got some, y'all. I really do. So thank y'all for listening. This is Free, coming to you live from River North, D2 Pod. I appreciate you. See you soon.
Thank you for using GTL.